Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies of the year, maybe my favorite movie of the year, and I think it's Paul Thomas Anderson's best movie. I just saw one battle after another for the second time because it's my favorite movie of the season so far, maybe the year. And that's saying a lot because this guy, he gave us Punch Drunk Love and There Will Be Blood bangers. I mean, he gave us Boogie Nights. Paul Thomas Anderson's a goddamn auteur, and I wish that there were more directors still like him out there. I think it's Paul Thomas Anderson's best movie, and Jonny Greenwood does the music, so you can't go wrong with that. This is his, I think, second crack at a Thomas Pynchon novel, or Thomas Pynchon, if you're a nerd who likes to just correct people for saying his name incorrectly. But who will ever know how to say his name correctly, since he'll never come out and say it publicly. Thomas Pynchon is famously a recluse. I've read a few of his novels. I haven't read Vineland, off of which this one is loosely based. But Paul Thomas Anderson's last outing as trying to adapt a Thomas Pynchon novel was a little movie called Inherent Vice, starring that young whippersnapper Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix did an incredible job in that one, and you could kind of tell if you watch that movie, you'll start to see what Paul Thomas Anderson's working on. It's like if you watch Inherent Vice and then you look at One Battle After Another, you'll see, holy crap, this guy was just practicing. He was just swinging. He was in the, what do you call that? He was in the bullpen waiting to throw out the real game. The thing about Thomas Pynchon, it can get really wacky, and with Inherent Vice, that wackiness is on full display. One of the coolest things about Thomas Pynchon, like in Gravity's Rainbow or V, his first big novel, or The Crying of Lot 49, is that you get these like conspiracies and all this crazy shit going on, but what it's doing is revealing greater truths and usually a different look at something that maybe is a lesser known piece of history. And that's part of the magic of Thomas Pynchon. Really good, like in Mason Dixon. And well, anyway, I don't want to go into all of Thomas Pynchon because that's going to be too long of a video. One battle after another, he takes the best of Thomas Pynchon and even leaves some of the names and some of the Easter eggs in there, but he kind of runs with it, modernizes it, and makes it his own movie. Now, in the original Vineland, it's about people from the 1960s who were revolutionaries, and then in the 80s, how they're trying to come to terms with a world that has become more controlling, more of a surveillance state, more of an unfriendly place for people with unpopular radical ideas. And what happens to people who are old hippies when they get old. And Vineland is, I've not read it, but it's often applauded as one of his better works, Thomas Pynchon. One battle after another. It's great because he goes after the truth of our modern world and he shows it in this hyper realistic way. And you can't help but look at it and go, my God, this is what it's like today. It's almost like as if John Hughes directed movies that were more of a gut punch. It's like a serious version of Ferris Bueller's Day Off or Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, where it tells you something very true about the audience and about the world the audience lives in, but um, in this crazy zany world that they've concocted. Like the Christmas Adventurers Club is one of the underground right-wing white Christian nationalist organizations, and of course it has a name like Christmas Adventurers Club, and they pray to Saint Nick and stuff. I mean, it might sound foolish, but in the movie it totally works, and it's hard not to be afraid of them. And same thing goes with this Sean Penn's maybe Sean Penn just disappears in this role as the villain, Stephen J. Lockjaw. And of course, his name is Lockjaw because once he grabs you, he can't let go. He's got that lockjaw. He won't let go. And he's this ultimate evil who wants to be in the Christmas Adventurers Club. But there's one part where because he's going after these revolutionaries, he gets awarded the Bedford Forrest Medal of Honor. And Bedford Forrest, of course, if you remember Forrest Gump was named after, his name was Forrest because he was named after the first Grand Wizard of the KKK, Nathan Bedford Forrest. And so the fact that the military is giving someone a Bedford Forrest Medal of Honor is like Paul Thomas Anderson was able to leave just enough Thomas Pynchon in there to make this the best adaptation of a Pynchon novel. And I hope he makes it. I hope he does another one. I hope he does Crying of Lot 49. I hope he does more, because if this is exactly what a movie is supposed to be when you're adapting a novel. You're inspired by the novel. Now I want to go read that novel, even though, like, man, Thomas Pynchon, I think I've read 5 of his novels, and they're fatties, except for The Crying of Lot 49. If you haven't read The Crying of Lot 49, it's the shortest one. You should go read it. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. It's about an underground shadow post office that is operating because it doesn't believe that the government should be running the post offices of the world, because that's how they're controlling us. See what I mean? It's like these crazy ideas, but in the novels they work. Now, it hasn't really quite worked as a movie until now, and Paul Thomas Anderson did it. He finally cracked the code. And I think what you should watch, again, I don't do star systems. I just thumbs up or thumbs down. And clearly, this is I think this might be my favorite movie. It's my favorite movie of the year, and it's the only film I've seen in a long time in the theater twice. I went to go see it a second time just now, and I noticed more fun things about it. It's totally rewatchable. It follows the daughter of Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Bob, and Willa, and she is such a capable woman. She's clearly a teenager, but she's written so honestly, and you believe her as this teenager who's quite capable and was raised by a revolutionary and is the daughter of a revolutionary, and coming to terms with what that means and whether or not this is real. And it's so refreshing to see a young woman not played like a dumb girl, but played like a young woman who is trying to take care of herself when everyone else has seemingly left her alone and let her down. The world has let her down. Everyone has abandoned her. She has nobody, and she's able to, or so she thinks. She thinks she has nobody, but she's able to rise to the occasion. So the story is not only about Lockjaw and his inability to let things go, but it's also about Bob, the aging revolutionary, and the daughter, and and Perfidia Beverly Hills, who is her mother. And well, I think you should go watch this movie before it leaves cinemas. The first time I watched it, there were hardly any souls in the movie theater, and the second time I watched it, it was sold out. So I'm hoping that this is one of those movies that people are finally catching on to and will go see in the theater before it leaves, because I want to see more movies like this. I want to see less Disney bullshit movies and more movies like this. And that's only going to happen if people actually go out and see the goddamn movie. So for me and for American culture, please go see Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another. And also, I think that, it inspires it inspires also a little bit of critical thinking and looking at the world a little bit differently, and questioning authority and questioning the status quo, and maybe just seeing what we have, the world we live in, a little bit differently. Isn't that the magic of cinema? Isn't that what you really want from cinema? I hope it is. I hope it still is something that you want out of cinema. All right. That's it. Thank you. Go see the movie. Let me know what you think in the comments. Bye. Plus, it has Gil Scott-Heron poem featured heavily, which is one of my favorite things ever. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brother. The revolution will be live.